Chosen one, pause. Whatever you were about to do next, set it down. Because the moment you are inside of right now was on the books before you opened your eyes this morning. Two versions of today were possible. The one where this message reached you, and the one where you walked through the next 24 hours the same person you woke up as. The line between those two timelines was not random. He moved something. He cleared something. He rerouted the path your day was on so that this could land where it was always meant to land. There is an envelope with your name on it that has been sealed for longer than you realize. Sealed not by accident, but by design. Sealed because the one who wrote what was inside it knew that if it reached you any earlier, you would have dismissed it. Today the seal broke, and the delivery channel is this. I need you to take in one thing before we go any further. God does not waste detours. He does not reroute a soul for nothing. The strange pull you are feeling, the small voice that said stay, that is not coincidence. That is the fingerprint of divine traffic control. The interruption is the answer. The disruption is the delivery. What feels like a stop is actually the only way the message was ever going to arrive. Stay until the end. The transmission has started, and what was held back is finally on its way. This is the emergency alert, not the kind that warns of danger, the kind that announces that a delivery has reached its window, and the delivery is for you. Before we go any deeper, I want you to know exactly what you are about to receive in the next few minutes, because your time is precious and you deserve to know whether to stay. By the end of this conversation, 3 things will happen. First, you will know the name of the season you have been in for months without anyone telling you what it was called. Second, you will understand the exact reason you have been missing the signs of your own redirection, and it is not what you think, and it is not your fault. And third, you will receive what he delayed until tonight, the thing he held back until you were ready to recognize it. That is the promise of this conversation, and I will keep it before the closing. So, stay with me. Stay all the way to the seal at the end. What you are about to hear was prepared for someone exactly where you are tonight. I want you to know one thing now, so it does not surprise you later. There is something given to me through a verified path that I will share with you near the closing that supports the work we are about to do together. 2 pieces of it, actually. They are not the answer themselves. They are the doors that make the answer reachable. I will not name them yet, because the diagnosis has to come first. Without the diagnosis, the doors mean nothing. With the diagnosis, the doors become obvious. We will arrive there together. Right now, I need your attention on something else. There are 5 quiet patterns that show up in the life of a chosen one whose path is being rerouted. Most people never connect them. Tonight you will. The first pattern shows up in how you have been asking. You have noticed yourself asking the same question over and over, in different words, to different sources, and nothing lands. Not the books you read, not the people you trust, not the prayers you whisper at midnight. The answer should be reaching you. It is not. And it is not because the answer is not there. It is because something on your end cannot receive it yet. If that is true for you tonight, listen close. What I am about to explain will name the part of you that has been closed. The second pattern is the doors. In the last 3 to 6 months, doors have been closing in your life. Not slowly, quickly. Relationships that quietly faded. Opportunities that looked perfect and then dissolved. Plans that took twice the energy and gave back half the result. You have been blaming yourself for them. You have been calling them failures. They are not failures, they are corrections. And you have been missing the pattern they are forming. The third pattern shows up in your clarity. There are moments when something becomes crystal clear, when you suddenly understand what you are supposed to do, what is true, what to choose. And then within hours, sometimes within minutes, the clarity dims. You cannot hold it. You watch it fade, and you do not know why. This is not weakness. This is a signal that one of your channels is dim. We will name it in a moment. The fourth pattern is timing. Things keep arriving in your life. Real opportunities, real invitations, real openings. And by the time you recognize them for what they are, the window has closed. You see them clearly only in hindsight. You think you are missing them by accident. You are not. There is a layer in you that cannot recognize the gift while the gift is in the room. And the fifth pattern is the strangest one. You feel close. You feel almost there. You feel like the next breath might be the one where everything makes sense. But the next breath never quite is. You live on the edge of an arrival that never quite arrives. If you have been living in that gap, this whole video was prepared for you. If even two of these are true for you tonight, what comes next was prepared for you specifically. Now, I need to name what most teachers will not tell you. Because most teachers will tell you the problem is your faith, or your discipline, or your prayer life, or your mindset. And every time they say that, a chosen one walks away, believing the brokenness is theirs. It is not. You do not have a faith problem. I have watched you. You have held faith through seasons that would have broken most people. You do not have a discipline problem. You have tried every system, every routine, every practice that has been put in front of you. And you do not have a mindset problem. The fact that you are still listening this deep into a message most people would have scrolled past is the proof. What you have is something different. You have two dimmed signal layers. Neither of them is your fault. Both of them are addressable, and until they are named, every solution you try will land in the wrong place, and you will keep blaming yourself for results that were never about effort. Tonight, somewhere in a quiet house, there is a person holding a phone, scrolling without expecting anything, looking for proof that any of this is real. That person is exhausted from being told that their season is their fault. That person needs to hear someone finally name what is actually happening. If that person is you, then everything I say from this point forward is for you. We are going to name it. Then we are going to address it. In the order that he arranged. There is a story in the old text that almost no one reads the way I am about to read it for you. A man named Jonah was given an assignment. He was supposed to go east to a city called Nineveh and deliver a message. Jonah did not want to, so Jonah went west instead. He boarded a ship to a place called Tarshish in the opposite direction. He decided to outrun the assignment. Now, most people read this and they think the storm was Jonah's punishment. They think the great fish that swallowed him was a consequence. They think the 3 days in the dark were divine anger. That is not what was happening. The storm was the reroute mechanism. The great fish was not a punishment, it was a vehicle. The 3 days in the dark were not torture, they were formation. God was not destroying Jonah. God was relocating him. The route Jonah chose was the one that would have ended him. The route God forced him onto was the one that would deliver him exactly where he was always meant to arrive. Listen to this carefully, because this is one of the moments where he speaks directly into a life. Inside that great fish, in the dark, when Jonah had nothing left to argue with, the voice came. And the voice said this: "You did not lose the assignment. I moved the assignment to where you would receive it differently." That was the entire teaching. And then the fish released Jonah onto the shore of the same destination he had been running from. Same destination. Rerouted path. Now hear me carefully, because I want you to feel this in your own life. You are not running from your assignment the way Jonah was. You have been trying to walk straight toward it, but the storm came anyway. The doors closed anyway. The path you thought was the path stopped working anyway. And you have been asking why. The why is not punishment. The why is not abandonment. The why is the same as it was for Jonah. The route you were on was leading you somewhere your spirit was never meant to live. The storm is the relocation. The dark season is the formation. The destination has not changed. The path to it has. You are inside the rerouted route, right now. There is a word in the original Greek of the old text that English does not translate well. The word is kairos, and it does not mean the kind of time you keep with a clock. Clock time is called chronos. Chronos is the time that moves whether you are ready or not. Chronos is what your phone shows you. Chronos is what your calendar runs on. Kairos is different. Kairos is the appointed moment. Kairos is the time that is scheduled for you, not by you. Kairos is what breaks into chronos when heaven has decided that something must arrive. Kairos does not care about your schedule. Kairos does not ask permission. Kairos opens a door inside an ordinary day, and the door is only open for the length of time the appointment lasts. The phrase emergency alert in this conversation is the closest English compression I can give you for what Kairos actually does. It is not panic, it is precision. It is the moment when Chronos pauses long enough for Kairos to be received. That is what tonight is. Picture this with me for a moment. There is a caravan crossing a desert. The caravan has been on a familiar road for a long time, and then a scout sees something the caravan cannot see yet, and the leader gives the order to change direction. The caravan grumbles. They feel lost. They do not understand. But when they finally arrive at the new direction, they find an oasis that the old road would never have led them to. You are inside that reroute. So now we name what is actually happening. Because the dimmed signals I mentioned earlier, they have specific names, and once you can name them, you can address them. There are two root causes for why a chosen one misses the signs of their own reroute. Two, not one. And almost every teaching out there only talks about one of them, which is why almost every solution out there only half works. The first root cause is what science calls the decline effect. When you were a child, your brain operated on a frequency that adults described as magical. You learned without trying. You believed without forcing. You created without permission. That frequency has a scientific name. It is called gamma brainwave activity. And the decline effect is the slow process by which the world dims your gamma over the years. Stress dims it. Sleep loss dims it. Cognitive overload dims it. By the time you are in your 30s, your 40s, or beyond, your gamma is running at a fraction of what it was when you were 7. This is why clarity reaches you, and then fades. Your gamma cannot sustain it. The second root cause is what is called the stress signal. To receive an answer, your brain has to be in a specific state. That state has a name too. It is called alpha. Alpha is the calm, open, receptive state where signals get through. Chronic stress closes alpha. It locks your nervous system into a defensive mode where the door is shut even when the gift is in the room. This is why the right opportunity arrives and you do not recognize it until later. Your alpha was closed when it came. So now you see it. The clarity does not sustain because your gamma is dim. And when reception is needed, your alpha is closed. Two channels, both dim, both addressable, but in a specific order. One first, one second. The sequence matters. Now here is where most teachings end. Most teachings would tell you to rest more, to pray harder, to meditate longer, to wait for it to fix itself. That will not address two dim channels. That will not reactivate gamma. That will not open alpha. Effort cannot reach the layer where the dimness lives. Only sequence can. In the second half of this conversation, I am going to show you exactly what he delivered for this. The path he prepared while you were still wondering what was wrong. The reason the seal broke tonight and not earlier. The two pieces I mentioned at the start. The two doors. The order he wants them received. And the truth about who you have always been underneath the dimness. But before we go there is one more thing that has to be named. The thing about you that the dimness has been hiding. Chosen one, if you made it here, the reroute is taking hold. That is not a small thing. Most people do not make it past the first wave of explanation. They reach for their phone halfway through, and they walk away from the conversation that was meant for them. You stayed. That means something on the inside of you is already recognizing what is being said. Hold that. We named the storm, we named the mechanism, we named the dimness, and now we name you. Because everything I have told you so far has been about what happened to you. None of it has been about what you actually are. And until you understand what you actually are, none of the solutions in the second half will mean what they are supposed to mean. This is where the conversation changes. Listen close. You were not born with dim channels. You were born with bright ones. Both of them, fully alive, fully open. When you came into this world, you carried what the old text calls the heart of a child of light. And that heart had two signal layers running at full strength. The gamma layer that lets you see, the alpha layer that lets you receive, both wide open, both undimmed. Then the world started to dim them, slowly, one by one, until the brightness you were born with started to feel like a memory you could not quite reach. Now hear this, because this is the line the whole conversation has been moving toward. There is a teaching in the old text where the one who spoke through the prophets said this: unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom. Most people read that as a moral instruction. It is not a moral instruction. It is a frequency instruction. The kingdom he was describing is the state of receiving, and the state of receiving requires a child mind first. Child mind first, receiving second. That is the order he named 2,000 years ago, and that is the order he is still using tonight. This is why the reroute had to happen. This is why the doors closed. This is why the dimness was named. Because what he is delivering to you was always sequence dependent. You cannot receive as an adult. You can only receive as a child of light who has remembered. The path back to that child of light begins with restoring the gamma. The path forward into the kingdom of receiving begins with opening the alpha. In that order. Remember the caravan I described earlier. The new road has two oases on it. The first oasis is where the child mind comes back. The second oasis is where you finally receive what was always yours. So I want to say 4 things to you now, and I want you to hear each one as if it is being read off the envelope I described at the beginning. What was taken from you as a child? The brightness, the openness, the trust that something good was coming, this is yours. What you have been quietly grieving, the version of yourself that knew without trying, the version that received without doubting, this is yours. What you stopped expecting, the moment when clarity stays, the moment when the gift is recognized while it is still in the room, this is yours. And what he rerouted everything tonight to deliver, the delayed answer, the held-back grace, the season-changing arrival, this is yours. The seal is broken, the envelope is open. What was held back has finally arrived. Now I will tell you how it arrives. There are 2 pieces that he routed to me, and through me, to you. 2 audio tools, both of them 7 minutes long, both of them designed by independent researchers who never met. Both of them addressing exactly the 2 layers we just named. I am going to tell you about them in the order he wants them received. Not the order that costs more, the order that works. The first piece is called The Genius Song. It is a 7-minute digital audio track. It uses sound to reach the gamma layer directly, the one that dimmed over the years, the one that has been keeping your clarity from sustaining. You listen with headphones. That is the entire practice. No meditation, no experience required, no years of training. And if you are someone whose path includes a household with children, there is a companion path that extends this same restoration to them. I will not detail it here. It exists when your spirit asks for it. The science behind the Genius Song was developed by a researcher named Dr. Robert Lake. He spent 34 years studying the gamma frequency. His work has been verified against research from MIT, from Princeton, from Harvard, and from other leading institutions. What he discovered is that the gamma frequency can be reactivated through a specific form of sound called brain entrainment. To access this state through traditional means would cost $300 per session for biofeedback therapy, or $7,000 for home neurofeedback equipment, or months of sustained meditation before you saw measurable results. Dr. Lake compressed it into 7 minutes of audio. That is what the genius song is. Once the gamma layer comes back online, something becomes possible that was not possible before. Your clarity sustains. You see again. You can hold the thought long enough to act on it. But there is a second layer. And clarity alone, no matter how sustained, cannot bridge what is on the other side. Because to actually receive what your clarity is showing you, the second channel has to be open, the alpha channel. And in most adults, alpha is closed. Not because of anything you did wrong, because of what is now called the stress signal. Chronic stress holds your nervous system in a defensive mode, and a defensive mode cannot receive. You can have crystal clear vision of what is meant for you and still walk past it because the receiving organ is not online. This is where the second piece enters the picture. The work on the stress signal was done by an entirely separate researcher. His name is Dr. Stephen Newton. He spent 22 years studying the alpha layer at Stanford and at Boston University. He and Dr. Lake never collaborated. Their findings simply line up because the human nervous system is built the way it is built. What Dr. Newton created is a parallel 7-minute audio that addresses the alpha layer specifically. It does what the genius song does for gamma, but for alpha. It opens the receiving channel. So here is the architecture: child mind first, receiving second, genius song first, wealth signal second. This is what the path actually looks like. This is the order he arranged. The second piece is called the wealth signal. It is also a 7-minute audio. It also uses brain entrainment. It is designed for the alpha layer. And like the first piece, if your path requires deepening beyond the foundational layer, there is an extension companion that exists for those whose spirit confirms it. I will not push it tonight. Your spirit will tell you if it speaks to you. Dr. Newton's research on the stress signal is independent of Dr. Lake's. It comes out of 22 years of work on the alpha state, on what happens to the human nervous system under sustained stress, and on how the receiving channel can be reopened through specific sound frequencies. The wealth signal is the 7-minute compression of that research. There are 3 paths available to you. I am going to tell you all 3, and your spirit will know which one is yours. The first path is the genius song alone. It would normally be $49. Tonight, it is $39. This is the honored entry point. For anyone whose primary block is clarity and sustaining, the second path is the wealth signal alone. Same pricing. $49 standard, $39 tonight. This is the rare path. It is for those whose primary block is receiving, not seeing. It is less commonly chosen, but for the right person, it is exactly the right door. The third path is what is called the complete stack. Both pieces together, $78 total. No fake bundle discount. The same price you would pay for each piece individually. This is the recommended path for anyone who recognizes both dimnesses tonight as their own. All 4 bonuses are included in any path you choose. The Genius Child Audio, the classic book that inspired The Secret, the 4-part guided visualization, and the Daily Habits infographic. Whichever path you choose, you risk nothing. Every order is protected by a complete money-back guarantee. No time limit, no questions. You either feel the difference or you receive every dollar back. The bonuses are yours to keep regardless. There is one important thing to know. There are sites currently circulating counterfeit versions of both audios. They use the same names. They are ordinary audio files with no brain entrainment technology. They will not work. The only verified source with the complete technology, all the bonuses, and the full guarantee is the link in the pinned comment of this video. Please do not search anywhere else. So here are your 3 doors: the genius song alone, the wealth signal alone, or the complete stack. 1 link in the comment. 3 destinations after you arrive there. Your spirit knows which door is yours. I am not here to push one over another. I am here to deliver the architecture. The choice is between you and him. If you are the one whose primary block has been clarity, the first door is yours. If you are the one whose primary block has been receiving, the second door is yours. If you are the one carrying both dimnesses, the complete stack is yours. Whichever door you walk through it as a child of light, remembering what was always yours. One person who walked through this path recently described what happened like this. They said the first week with the Genius song was strange, because for the first time in years, a thought finished itself. Then, a decision finished itself. Then a path opened that they had been staring at without seeing for months. They made one call. The call changed the next 12 months of their life. Another person, after adding the wealth signal to the sequence, described it differently. They said the gift had been arriving in their inbox for weeks, and they had been deleting it without reading it. After 2 weeks with the alpha layer reopened, they opened the email. The opportunity inside it was already there. They had been blind to it. That is the architecture. That is what was held back. That is what he delivered. 2 pieces, 1 sequence, 3 paths. The seal is broken. The envelope is open. The transmission has reached its window. Now I want to close this with you the way it was meant to be closed. Slowly, carefully, with nothing rushed. Release the version of you who thought the closed doors were rejection. They were not rejection. They were redirection. Release the verdict you assigned yourself when the path stopped working. The path was not yours. The new one is. Release the timing that told you you were behind. You were not behind. You were being moved. Release the story that the storm was punishment. The storm was the vehicle. Release the belief that this brightness was meant for someone else. It was always meant for you. Release the small, tired voice that has been telling you it might not work this time. You do not need to convince that voice. You only need to walk past it. And now hear the one who rerouted this. Hear him without trying to defend yourself. Hear him without filtering it through what you think you deserve. Just hear him. I rerouted everything. I rerouted everything because you must hear this. I rerouted everything because the destination is yours. Let those 3 sentences land where they need to land. Read them again inside yourself. The destination is yours. Now, wherever you are right now, on a bed, in a chair, in a car, in a quiet room, you do not need to move. You do not need to stand. You only need to do one thing inside your mind. Picture the envelope being placed in your hands. Picture your own name written on the front of it in clear handwriting. And inside your imagination, allow your fingers to break the seal. You do not have to read what is inside yet. You only have to open it. Take one slow breath in. As the breath goes in, picture the envelope opening fully. Take one slow breath out. As the breath goes out, see what is inside, lifted into the light. Take one more slow breath. And on this breath, allow the words inside to settle into your knowing. The path is yours. The timing is yours. The delivery is yours. And now, just for 3 seconds, do not say anything. Do not think anything. Just receive. Receive. And remember what I told you at the very beginning. God does not waste detours. Think of the caravan once more. The caravan that complained the loudest about the redirection was the same caravan that arrived first at the oasis. Receive the reroute. The destination was always yours. When you are ready, the link in the pinned comment will be waiting. 3 doors. Your spirit will know which one. May the kairos you have been waiting for begin tonight. May the seal remain broken. May what was held back arrive in full. And may you walk forward as the child of light he always knew you were.